Hello, good morning to everybody. We will continue with this new panel about next wave of innovation. Let me to start telling you that a few years ago, 2017, 2018, when the Port of Barcelona started to make a change or a new focus on the innovation vision, we tried to analyze what the most important ports in the world were doing. No? So we make some kind of benchmark in Singapore, in Rotterdam. We visit the port of Rotterdam. We analyze what were happening in Israel. We analyze what were happening in Antwerp, in Hamburg. And now we have here some of that ports that we visited at that moment and to explain what they have changed from that moment in which we were there till now. No? So for me it's a pleasure to present you our panel today that is formed by first Oscar Van Veen. Let me to tell you that after 20 years of entrepreneurship, Oscar sold his company, digital agency, that he co-founded and owned it. And since 2018, he's the head of digital innovations of the Port of Rotterdam. There he uses his entrepreneurial skills and management drive and passion for digital innovation to make Rotterdam the world's smartest port. Then you have to explain us how are you dealing to become the world's smartest port, okay?
I hope that you could explain me, but that's not how it goes, right? No, the way we want to be the smartest port, we're not the biggest port anymore.
Yeah.
That's not a goal on its own. So the smartest port for us, that's to be optimal, sustainable, efficient, and a very safe hub. So we want to combine all the knowledge of all the people, of all the 3,000 plus companies in our port ecosystem, and together we can be smart. That's the only way. And it's been touched upon by previous speakers in previous panels. We're just a port hub on our own, and just a little spot globally. So that's why events like this are so very important, because we have to cooperate with cities. We are all port cities, so we have to combine that knowledge as well, and together we can be a sustainable and efficient supply chain.
Okay, thank you. Our next panelist is Rooy Avrahami. Rooy is the Chief Innovation Officer at Ashdod Port. Rooy obtained his bachelor degree with honors in the Faculty of Law at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, a Master of Commerce in Law, and an MBA at Recanati School of Business Administration. He worked for the Ministry of National Infrastructure, Energy and Water, and the Ministry of Interior. And he joined Ashdod Port in 2017 as Chief of Staff of the Board of Directors, establishing the innovation department that you are managing now. So, Rooy, please, what means innovation for the Port of Ashdod?
So actually, I think that innovation, it's a language. It's an international language that we need to speak all over the world just to become more efficient. And I want to show like a very short movie that explain our innovation initiative. So please, if you can show the movie.
Centuries ago, seaports were portals to discoveries in a boundless and unfamiliar world. Today, the world is small, connected, and undergoing a digital revolution. 80% of all the world's commodities are being shipped across oceans, and seaports are the most vital links in a global network of cross-border trade. In this global grid, Israel's national port is the beating heart of the startup nation's economy and the perfect starting point for a new age of discoveries in the digital era. The port's innovation greenhouse is attracting dozens of new startups each year, for whom the port's diverse infrastructure provides the ultimate testing and proving grounds for new technologies in fields such as operations, logistics, energy, safety, and cyber. Entrepreneurs benefit from a comprehensive support envelope that enables seamless implementation of new ideas in the port's infrastructure and beyond. direct links to Israel's government and financial institutions, global ports, shipping companies, and international trade agreements provide investors with unprecedented exposure across the globe and across industries. It's time to make a smart move and join the new age of digital exploration at Ashdod Port, your portal for innovation.
Show us very well what you are thinking about what means innovation in your port. The last panelist is Piet Opstal, as he's the Innovation Enable Manager for the Port Authority of Antwerp. Sorry, Antwerp Bruges. I have to learn. I've not learned it yet, but yeah, Antwerp Bruges. And you are one of the drivers of the innovation-based energy and digital transition of the port. Based on a founded strategy with a pragmatic approach, you are executing concrete innovation projects and making the port of the future tangible, and leads the development of the Port of Antwerp Bruges as open innovation platform where startups, companies, knowledge institutions, and other authorities create new value for the Antwerp ecosystem. What means innovation for you? It's the same that the ports, or?
Yeah, of course, but good afternoon, everybody. It's nice to be here. And I think innovation is a means too. I think we are living in a period of exponential growth of technology. We should not underestimate that. So in the coming 10, 12 years, we will see a lot of new developments on quantum computing, artificial intelligence, machine vision, and so on. And as a port industry, we are probably not a front runner in implementing these new technologies. But I think we should focus on that and use that development and bring that into our industry. So we can make that transition, because ports are massive economic import areas, not only from an economic point of view, but also physically and social. So let's use that, let's embrace that, and use innovation as a means to make these transitions possible.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's go to the main topic of the panel, no? The new wave of innovation. Not just innovation, but the new wave. That means that something has changed, but new wave of innovation means that there has been all waves, no? or previous waves of innovation. What do you think has changed? And this is an open question for all of you. What has changed that makes that now we can talk about a new wave? What's the new wave of doing things now in terms of innovation in respect of 3-4 years ago? Please, Pete.
I think the biggest invention which happened is more than 50 years ago, when the container was invented, still one of the biggest innovation within the global maritime industry. But of course, in the meantime, a lot of development happened. The internet came there, big data came there. So a lot of technologies became available which can be used in our industry. So when I started 8-9 years ago within the Port of Antwerp, at that moment, in the meantime, Port of Antwerp Bruges, there was not much innovation, kind of horizon 2-3 innovation happening. It was about process optimization, it was about safety, security, but looking what we can do, major transformation at that moment were not active. I think in the meantime, driven by climate change, driven by geopolitics, I think the mindset has changed a lot. So what I saw in the last 5-6 years, that a lot of projects has been starting up, a lot of experiments to look what are the possibilities to work with new technologies in ports. Because we should not forget also the potential is huge. In the previous life, I was coming from a complete different industry, fast-moving consumer electronic navigation systems. And of course, the product cycles in the port business are much longer. We talk about 20, 30, 40 years. Fast-moving consumer, it's 6 months to 1 year. But the potential is really big. So I think what you see worldwide is that kind of experimentation phase is over. So we know the possibilities and the potential is there. So I think the next wave, what I see happening, is really operational implementation and cooperation in working out these innovative solutions.
Okay, thank you. Roy.
One more to add on that, actually, and I think that now more than ever we see that it's without any boundaries. So yesterday we had a conversation about drones, for instance, and all of our ports were all innovating on drones by ourselves. And now is the time to combine the effort, and Fantia already in a previous conversation touched upon that, to together go to, in our case, the European legislator and say, hey, this is how we want to step up together and not do it by ourselves. And then one really big technical thing that's going on now is the quantum key distribution and the quantum computing. And I think that's a total new way of distributing data, or actually make data at different locations at the same time. So it's totally different from what we are used to send data now. So that's going to be way different, and there we have to, again, collaborate from scratch. And we have to make a secure network between our ports, for instance.
Roy?
I totally agree, and I just think that the COVID just really helped to this innovation to come in to ports, because we just realized how the whole supply chain are very, very sensitive, and how all the world is very small village, you know? Just one ship that just stuck in the Suez Canal, and all the world just stuck. And just by innovation, we can solve it in a very easy way. So I think that our point of view of how to look about problem, how to look about solution, to understand that we can collaborate and to speak and to understand that the innovation is in all other fields except the maritime, and it's not make sense, right? So I think that we just open our door and we open our heart as well. Because what you need to do to bring innovation is just change of mindset and just said, okay, let's try. I don't know if we're going to succeed or not, but let's try, because we just saw what happened if we are not trying.
Okay, so if I understand, all of you agree that now is the right momentum for developing this new wave of innovation, no? But let me, I work for the Port Authority of Barcelona, so I understand quite well the sector. But if I try to go out of the box and see the port sector and the port environment, maybe from the perspective of a citizen, and if you compare with other sectors, the sector of pharma or the sector of IT, you see that innovations are constantly evolving. But if you look at our sector, a container today is more or less the same as a container that 20 years or 30 years or 40 years or maybe 50 years. So from the external point of view, I know that things have moved and so on. From the external point of view, it seems that it's a very static sector. So what are the key elements that you consider that now is the moment for the sector to change? The key ones.
It's not about containers, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's about what you eat every day. It's about what you consume every day, and so there's a thing actually, because that's the way that's been looked at through ports. But we have a challenge there to attract young and intelligent colleagues, because we talk about smart port, but you need smart colleagues to do so. And I think the maritime sector, as you say, still has some kind of a dusty image, and we have to make that sexy together.
And if we want to make it sexy, it's very easy. Because we just need to put ourselves in the shoes of the startups, okay? So startups and entrepreneurs don't do innovation for innovation. Let's face it. They do innovation to make money, okay? They want to earn as much money that they can, and they're looking for markets. Until now, all the maritime field just told them, no, we have enough money, everything is fine, don't touch it, it's work, you know, it's worked centuries ago, you have nothing to change. But if, again, open the door and tell them, yeah, you can have here a huge money, you know, so, and you have a lot of opportunities. So then more entrepreneurs come and investigate this area. This is how it's work, it's the chicken and the egg. And we, as a port, must do the first step and tell them, yes, we're going to invest in your startup, we're going to buy your product, because we are really believe that with your technology and with your mindset, we can be more efficient and it's win-win situation to change all the supply chain.
So I think to make it really sexy, we need probably some other guys here on stage. But,
hey, talk for yourself, please. Go on.
I think we have to develop also new business. Because look to the pharma, Johnson & Johnson is investing every year $10 billion in innovation only. So to make that faster cycle, we have to develop new products, new business models has to come into our industry. Yeah. And I think we are only at the beginning now. If you look to circular economy, I think like in Antwerp, we started with Next Gen District. For 7 years, it was misery. Our shareholder was saying, but you don't do anything with 80 hectares of land. And 2 years ago, it started kicking off, and it's growing now. So renewing that massive platform, innovation is a key driver in that, and we have to focus and bring that new business into our platform. Otherwise, we will remain in the same cycle. And of course, containers will be shipped also within 50 years. Yeah. But we should do a lot of other things.
And we're combining that already. We're working with Port of Hamburg, LA, Antwerp, Ashdod, and we try to combine all those startup programs and do exchange. And that's another way that we want to set up, and we discussed that in Busan when we were over there, and now here as well, that we want to arrange an exchange for young students that come and work with our port, because it's got to be great to also work a few, let it be a few days or a week in LA or in another port.
And this is exactly what attracts startups, because when they know that they have a big potential, not only in Ashdod, in all over the world, because I know Oscar, and I get by WhatsApp, just tell him, oh, listen, there's amazing startup, you must know him. You know, you can go and just do a POC over there, and this is how we do our collaboration in the Port of Barcelona, that we are actually establish an embassy of innovation, that it means that we are import and export startups. So it's a commercial way. It's not a MOU for MOU, and it's not innovation for innovation. It's innovation for business to become more efficient. And this is the X factor, let's put it this way.
Okay.
Maybe, can I add something? Sorry.
Yeah.
Because looking to the next wave of innovation, I think there are, you see it also here in the conference, a lot of startups, but I miss, like on decarbonization, on energy transition, I miss the good startups there. So I think as an industry, we not only have to wait until a smart guy invents something new and say, maybe you can use it. I think as organizations, we have to build also innovation and build new companies to bring the solutions for tomorrow.
But the green tech is a very important thing indeed. Because for us, one of the two pillars, it's not only digital transformation, but also the energy transition. And there again, we got a lot of green tech coming to Rotterdam, but we want to exchange that to other ports as well.
And it's one of our responsibility, I'm sorry, Carlos, but I think it's very important. It's one of our responsibility as a port, because we are a NIMBY, not in my backyard, right? Because we are pollution, we have polluted the air, we have polluted the sea. So I think that we are the responsibility just to together to just focus on sustainability and change the environment and so on.
Yeah, but in Barcelona, what I've seen is that there is we have some problems to match the startups with the port ecosystem, no? Because there is a problem, the startups are focused on technological development and so on, but they don't know exactly how the port business works. And the port business is thinking in the operational, the day operations, and are not thinking in the long future in working with the startups and so on. So in your ports, how are dealing with this matching between startups and the ecosystem?
Because I think the conditions within the port are different than in the consumer market. It's not the hockey stick is not coming within 6-7 years. No, it's a combination of hardware and software. You need to build like autonomous ships. You have to build these ships to create a data platform, and that's more complicated. It's also more business to business. So I think the context is different. But one of the things we have been doing, and which was quite successful, is position the port as an open innovation platform. There is a massive amount of assets present. Like in Antwerp, we have more than €2 billion of assets bridges, locks, buildings. We have a lot of digital infrastructure everywhere and fiber networks, a massive amount of data. And we have process knowledge, like nautical knowledge, which is quite specific. Open that to technology companies, to startups, and say, hey guys, experiment, work there, mature your products, and we will help you to bring that to the market. And I think as port authorities, we can easily do that.
I think you touch the most critical point to implement startup into the field. And it's critical, you know, because on PowerPoint, everything is working, right? But when you put boots on the ground, things start to change. And this is why we have just established a community of innovation agents. That it means that our workers, the people that actually operate, we teach them how to be entrepreneur. Not because we want them to be entrepreneur. We just want to teach them how to assist to other startups and to speak the same language, the same schedule, KPI, and so on. So actually, our workers become a design partner of the startup and try to, because we have a lot of know-how to operate in ports, right? With all the respect for the startup, they don't know much about ports. They want to establish it, but they don't know what. So I think that collaboration between the technology and with our workers, and more than that, with our union as well, you know, because you can bring the best technology. If the union don't want it, it's not going to happen. And it's the same problem with all the ports around the world, the same union, the workers have a lot of power centuries ago. But we don't need to struggle with it. We need to hug it and just ask them, okay, what you want us to do? Which solution you think it could fit us the best?
Yeah, we create a playing field for them. And a funny example is that we're using an airways platform that Ashdod invested in. So it's good that you hug them. We can use them now.
And you see, they was much more agile than we do because they already buy the product that we do a POC in our field, and already they bought the product and we didn't bought it yet. But still, brought it up.
That's a great example from how it's got to work, I think. Yeah.
Another word that you have said is collaboration. No? In fact, I was in Rotterdam, I don't know, months ago, and in a conference, and one of the conclusions was that for port digitalization and the development, technological development of the port, there were two main problems. The first one is the lack of collaboration, expressed in the problems with data sharing, and the second one is the lack of standardization. Okay, so how do you see these problems in the
collaboration? Is a very easy word to say, and I'm doing it myself sitting here today. But the hard thing, so nobody is against it. Hey, we have to collaborate on this and that. But the hard thing is to make it concrete. And then you've got to think big but act small. And that's why we earlier on mentioned the drones, for instance. You have to collaborate on something concrete and just take little steps together, doing POCs and pilots, fly over to each other's ports and see how you do it, learn from each other's mistakes. And that's a total way of doing business than the traditional port business. Because when you look at the first pillar of our organization, it's running today's port, and it's an almost military organization. So we're dealing with all digital systems that can't be hacked, that have to be spot on 24/7. And then to innovate, you don't have to run a military organization. You have to sit back, you have to open up, you have to be curious about how things work, and you have to be prepared to make mistakes. So those are two different worlds. And I think that's something that we all have to deal with. How do you combine those worlds within your own company, within your own ecosystem, to create a playing field and make small steps together? Because collaboration, nobody is against it, but how can you do it?
Yeah. And don't spend your time on standardization, because I think we are still very early stage development. So why should we start talking now on standardization? Because there is nothing, almost nothing. So let's do that in a later stage, because people say, yeah, we need first to standardize and then we can do something. never
But that's
works.
the way we used to do things.
Yes,
First
yes.
standardize and make it safe and secure
Yeah.
and frameworks and then run.
Yeah.
But the innovation thing is the other way around. Start
Do things.
with small steps and then create boundaries, but not upfront.
Okay. So, as all of you are working with the startups, let me to ask you an additional question is, how is your day-to-day working with the startup? I mean, from the out of the box again, if I try to put out of the box, what people think, and this is something I face it sometimes, is that, okay, you as a port can place a challenge over the table, then there will come a lot of startups, they will solve the challenge, and you will be happy, and the startup will be happy. And it doesn't work in that way.
No, it's a
How
lot
do
of
you do?
it's a lot of misery. It's also a lot of fun, but working every day with startups, they don't deliver on time. They are very bad in project management, project planning. So they never reach the targets and you agreed on. Mostly they go over budget. But it all doesn't matter because the budgets you're talking about, it's rather limited. You talk about 10, 20, sometimes 100,000 euro projects, not more than that. But the good news is a lot of these things are discovery projects. Learn the technology, learn each other, and see what's working and what's not working. And based on that, you have to make your business decision. Can we implement that, yes or no? And then you go to a next step, to a next phase. And that's then more planned and better managed than the previous one.
Roy?
So actually we come to this situation in very modest mode because we understand that most of them are much more sophisticated than we are, okay? And we are accepted and respect that. And all the time we're asking, okay, what we can do for them to succeed. So as you saw on the movie, we are shifting from being to portal for innovation, right? So it's just give them the stage, and we just look in which stage they are, because the early stage we already established our accelerator with 500 startup global, one of the fourth biggest accelerator around the world. But then with the growth startup, we just understand what they need. And we just understand that there are lack of two things. There are lack of money and there are lack of time. So we don't want to waste their time, and we want to make sure that they have money or from us as a client or from my colleagues that other ports around the world. But we come as a partnership and just ask them, please tell us what we need from us to do, and we do it.
Okay.
Yeah, for us, how we work with startups has two paths. First is a Port Excel startup program that I mentioned before. But we also created our own digital assets, our own digital carve-out startups on international platform play level. So you have PXP Pronto that was in an, it's all to optimize the port call. You have Naviporta on a blockchain connection. And so we created a few scale-ups ourselves to have a few pawns on international platform play to play there where our end customers are playing as well. Now we're going, we don't have that role anymore. So we carve them out, and they can be an organization that be scaled up on itself. And now we're more and more play the role of which they describe. So give a level of playing field to the startups, not doing it ourselves.
Let me to ask you about the results of all this innovation, all this work with the startup and so on. How do you see your port in the future? For example, in 10 or 15 years, what will change?
I think the biggest change probably will be that we will become energy hubs. I think ports has been traditionally, since the Middle Ages, a kind of break bulk, cargo transport. Then in the 60s, the more and more chemical industry came in. The 70s, 80s, container business came in. And I think now we are in a period of being energy hubs. So that will be probably the biggest change in the coming 10 years. Of course, digitalization slowly will further be implemented. Automatization, if you, for instance, see what's happening now in the port of Shanghai, They are building a new complete port, which will be remote controlled from the city center, which is 80 kilometers away. So that's a kind of new developments you will see in the coming 10 to 20 years, I think. Energy and automation.
Roy, your port?
I think in one word is it's knowledge and information, okay? Because I think that we're going to have a lot of information about what we do and how we do. Speaking about big data, predictive maintenance, AI, and so on, that we know we don't going to deal, with any damage when it happens. We're going to know much more advanced what is going on, and we know we're going to learn about ourselves with the technology, because the technology is just a tool. It's a tool for us to learning, to predict, and to act.
Oscar? How will Rotterdam in the
elaborate
future?
on that, we say, okay, ships, they float on water, but a total port floats on data. And enabled to be very sufficient, safe, and sustainable, we have to combine all that data because together we know more. And but we as human, we cannot make all the connections. But that's where AI comes into the equation. So when we connect all the knowledge, all the sensors, all the people, all the organization, the physical infrastructure, that's going to be more and more connected. And we put AI and quantum computing on top of that, that's when we're going to be a real smart port. And that's both for sustainability. So because we have to know what's in the ground now, where do the pipes go? But we also have to rethink the energy paths, like Carno was mentioning in the audience. Like we're still wanting to put the hydrogen in boats. Why not put them in balloons? And think out of the box again, also for the energy transition.
Okay. I'm sorry to say that, but we are nearly reaching the end of this panel. So if there is someone from the audience that wants to ask a question, this is the right moment.
Are you still awake?
Yeah?
Yeah, okay, great.
Any questions?
Yeah,
please.
I know that that's sounding loud. I'm just wondering, working with the container operators together, that they own tons of data.
Yeah.
Anything happening at that level or not?
Oh yeah, we did for the past 10, 20 years. So there, on the logistical level, we're pretty much done the job. So we're able to combine data when a ship comes in and get it to customs or get it to the right. So there we created a data hub, port community systems. We have them all, different ones, but they're actually data hubs. And together with that data hubs, we now want to go to the transport layer and also to the infrastructure layer to combine data there. But it was a hurdle to get that data. And hopefully now all the companies are more willing to share data because they profit from himself, not in euros or in dollars, but in efficiency, in sustainability, in safety. That's where you profit together. Those are ecosystem goals that you share together.
But I think we still need to make some steps because we cannot approach yet a port as a system. Because a port is a kind of pockets of capacity. You can optimize that. And I think the data is yet not there today to really manage that way. And there is still some improvement to be done on that. But
small steps there as well.
So
think big.
It's a small step for innovation, but big step for the maritime
For the
world.
maritime transfer. Another question? Yeah, please. Well, just take the micro, please.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
My name is Ali, I'm from Belgium, from IMEC. Well, I was really enjoying your talk and I took some notes as well. The point was about having this data platform for the ports, but are you also thinking about connecting ports together? Basically all these platforms together so the ports can also collaborate with each other and also make autonomous decisions. So not just an autonomous port on its own, but an autonomous network of ports. So is it also on the roadmap and are you thinking about that?
Yeah, thank you for your question. And no, we don't want to have anything to do with those guys. Sorry. No, it's a very good question.
they're already the smartest, so...
That's the thing, and that's what I think we all mentioned, that we're just this piece in a global network. And again, there we start experimenting in our own ports, of course, also to give way to all the startups and to think things over. But now with some of the developments, we're on a point that we say, hey, we have to combine those efforts, absolutely, and combine the knowledge, etc.
So
yeah.
I want to add to that. Behind all the technology, there is people. And in the end, it's all about people, okay? So what we're trying to build over here, it's a friendship. That's all. We're just trying to be friends and just share about what we need and what we don't need. And this is how we create things, you know? So yeah, totally, we want to build a human infrastructure by friendship, okay? This is how it's connect all the world.
And I think Chainport is working very well. We have these 7, 8 big ports here, and that's going, and that's not easy, but we learn each other. But we should not forget there are hundreds other ports worldwide, and also there we should look how we can bring them, connect them, and the learning curve we have been going through. They should not do that, so we should help them in making fast implementation.
And it all starts on those events. So again, Port of Barcelona, thanks very much for
Thank you very much.
having us here. Yeah.
Any other question? Yeah?
Hello. What's your, if you can only name one, what's your main challenge or innovation for 2023 you want to solve? You can only name one.
A monitoring system for to have real-time monitoring of carbon emissions. That's a very concrete one.
One word, union. It's very tough. We have 11 union in our ports. They are politically very, very strong, and they can stop everything in a second. They can stop, and just they want to stop just because of one word. It's called fear, because they are fear about themselves, about the future. So you just deal with fear with knowledge. You just need to explain what we do, how we do, and so on. So I think this is my mission. It's actually not just to have innovation on the cloud, just to bring the innovation into the field, into the peer, and I can do it not by my own. I need my workers and the union working with me, because if not, it's not going to work.
No, I'm not going to add on that. I think we have to applaud.
Okay, I'm sorry to say, but unfortunately, because we can still talk about innovation for many, many hours, but the organization will kill me if I let you to continue talking a lot more. So thank you, Oscar. Thank you, Roy. Thank you, Pete, for being here and for explaining. Thank you. And hoping you, as the audience, will enjoy these speakers, and see you again in a few moments with Smart Ports. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Carlos, come. We need to do a selfie together. Come here. Let's do it.